So this is a resuming of our classes. We have 4 more in the session, and this is going to be what you all will be doing on Tuesday at 10 o'clock. If you come to Liberty Town, we'll have it set up outside. This is to remind you, just put my masking tape around the edges. I have a watercolor block, so my paper is already down tight. If you have a surface to put just one single piece on, or if you want to leave it on your spiral, that's fine. I have my water, water for mixing color, my water to clean my brush off first before I stick it into this clean water to put on my palette. I have my palette. I've sprayed some water, which I'll bring this on Tuesday, but you can get these like at the Dollar Tree. Sprayed my palette first to get it sort of gummy. And I'm going to do a painting of a marsh. And I know that we're not going to have a painting in front of us to copy, but you'll be able to sort of copy mine. And it will be a a refresher on the things we've learned. I'm just putting some water down right now on my paper. I'm going around. I'm not even looking to see where I'm not putting water, because I'm just going to get some blue and put around and see what happens for sky. And clouds. And I'm going to let that dry. And as it dries, it changes. It changes color, and it also changes its value as far as the strength of the color goes. But it just continues to kind of creep around, pooling. And so this is wet and wet. And which is most watercolorists use wet and wet and dry on dry, and that's it. They don't do all those other fancy things. Now I'm gonna just wet this area down here, which would be sort of like a marsh area. And over here on my palette, if you all can see, I have things that I've mixed up before. And I'm just going to get some of that, just kind of mix together a gray. Get nice earth tones sometimes when you mix all of your colors together. And I'm just going to drop these into this area. For the beginning of my marsh. And you can see there's some really pretty things. My blue, and from this palette box, actually has split up into some blue greens and blues and some purples, which that's quite lovely. And then I'm just gonna come sort of at a diagonal here. So it's like painting with water. And I'm gonna just see what happens if I drop a little bit of yellow in there. And while this marsh is expanding, I'm just going to put a little of this color, of that yellow in there. So it's fun to see what happens to your paint and how it spreads and makes its own painting. Because I don't want to mess with this. I could add a little more blue maybe in here while it's still wet. But I'm going to go back to my palette, and you can see that I have some orange and some blue, And if I mix the two of those together, I get a brown. Anytime you mix complements of color and a complement, if you remember from when we did our color wheel, complement are the two that are opposite each other. Opposites, like yellow and purple. These are actually opposite here. Green and orange will make a brown. So now this paper is dry, and I'm just going to come and put some color down here with that brown. Now I'm going to just pause this video and let this dry a bit, which you all can do some jumping jacks when we're in class to let your piece dry, since we won't have a plug to use a hair dryer.